There are different roles created by the software for different types of interventions when they are assigned. The links to the roles are located in the administrative area of the Discipline Management page. I'll click on the Detention role link and we'll look at that as an example. We have 3 kinds of detention on this role, and they are each listed separately. Your school may have different types of detention. These students are listed alphabetically in each group, but if you would prefer to have the list by grade level, click the word grade in the heading and they will be rearranged by grade. We currently have a 12th grader first, but I'll click grade up here and they will be rearranged by grade. I'll click name and they'll go back to alphabetical order. Our first intent on this page is to give credit for time served to the students who are present. We do that by filling in the number in this box and clicking the Save button. You could change the number by typing in a number in each box, but since it's possible that you'll have a long list of students, we'll use this top drop-down on the left as a shortcut. And this school has 3 types of detention on this page, but whatever the detention types are that are used by your school, they will be listed in this drop-down. Here we have after school, lunch in the cafeteria, and lunch in the classroom. Click the type of detention you want to give time credit for. The 1 in this box on the right is the default in this box, but you can change that by typing in a different number. For portions of an hour, use a decimal form. I'll leave after school in the drop-down and 1 for the 1 hour selected. When I click the Set button, a 1 will appear in each of these fields on the far right, but the hours served figure here in this column will not change. Credit will not actually be given until the Save button is clicked. If I change my mind about that, I can scroll down here and click the Reset button, and the 1 will disappear from all of these fields. And now we're back to zeros. I'll change the time to 1/2 hour for these students by typing 0.5 into the time served field. And I'll click the Set button to add that ½ hour to all of these fields on the far right. And do you see that 1/2 hour was added to these fields for after-school detention students, but not to the other students who have been assigned different detention types? That is because we have after school selected here in this drop-down. If you have lots of students on your list, but 1 or 2 didn't show up, it's quicker to do it this way. Just place the ½ hour in all these fields and then delete the number from the 1 or 2 who don't show up. Time served does not get credited until you click the Save button at the bottom of all of the names. To delete the time from students who don't show up, just highlight the number and click Delete on your keyboard, or click in the field and backspace so that nothing is visible in the field. These checkboxes mean nothing when this Set Default Time is being used. They are here for the preparation of letters using this box. Placing check marks in them when using the Set Default Time won't have any effect. The checkboxes are ignored by the software except for use in preparing letters. Notice the time served here before we click the Save button. For instance, student Carol has served 1/2 hour so far, and we're about to give her credit for another ½ hour when we click the Save button. Now I'll click Save. And now the ½ hour of credit that we just gave has been added to the students' totals in the served column. If any student on our list had only 1/2 hour left to serve, their name would be dropped from this list and emails would automatically be sent by the software notifying the email addressees that you selected in our previous tutorial of the student's status change, and his detention would be designated as completed in the database. You'll notice that now that we've clicked Save, the software has looked to see how much time the student had already served and added the half hour that we just gave them credit for, and the new total credit for time served is now in this column. You see that student Carol now has credit for a full hour. If we are just working with after-school detention students at this time, we don't need to be concerned with the other students listed for other detentions. Clicking Save will not change their status at all, since we have not changed the zeros in their Today field. Now let's go on to the other drop-down on the left, the Prepare Letters drop-down. There are other pages from which these letters can be generated, but if a student hasn't received his detention letter yet or hasn't signed his detention letter yet, you can print them from this page as well. The difference is that when printing from this page, you are not able to edit the text of the individual letters. If you print the student's detention letter from the same page on which you assign consequences, as we saw in an earlier tutorial, you can change any of the text in the letter. To print multiple letters at once from this page, select the type of detention from the drop-down here. Click the Check All button. Here is where the check boxes come in. All of the boxes will be checked. In other words, all of the check boxes in all of the categories of detention types will be checked, but when I click Prepare Letters, only the after-school detention letters will be printed because I have the after-school selected in this field, and you'll notice here it says that it will only print the letters of type. If I do not need to print a letter for a student, I just click on the check mark and it will disappear from the box. I have Crystal and Eric with double detentions from some testing that I was doing, so there should be 2 letters queued for each of them. I'll click Prepare Letters. And we get the after-school detention letters. Click Print Letters to print them. Even though they come one right after another here, they will print on individual pages if you have an Internet Explorer compatible browser. So I'll scroll up and we'll see here our extra letter for an undeserving Crystal and the other letters that we've created. Although there were check marks in the lunch cafeteria detention and the lunch classroom detention, no letters have been printed for those students.